بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر وأنت على كل شيء قدير. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما واجعل التفرق بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تدع فينا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم آمين. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise and thanks are due to him, and peace and blessings be upon his beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him, and he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do bear witness that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today is the last lecture, main lecture. However, inshallah, most likely inshallah will be in the Khatara, and maybe tomorrow in the Fajr, then I will say goodbye for you. So the intensive last lecture is today. How to continue your relationship with the Quran throughout the coming year. This is the title, how to continue. Now, to make it easy, clear, now the question is actually on how. To answer the how thoroughly, in the best way, you need to understand, and we need to answer the what and why. How comes after what and why. Now, how to continue? I should ask my question, but why to continue? Huh? Yalla, let's know. Do this and this. Wait. If you don't know the why and you don't know the what, most likely the how will be of no benefits. What do I mean by the what and the why? What is the Quran? And why I need to keep a relation with the Quran. If these 2 points have strong, clear, convincing answers, the how is so easy. You can find tens of ways, no problem the how. Because I can finish this lecture in a classical way by saying how to do it, make a program, make a schedule, repeat such and such and such. Okay, you can do it, but you will not feel it, you will not grasp, you will not harvest the big benefits if you don't start from the what and the why. Okay? So I will spend, let's say, 50% of the time to go all together, inshallah, with a nice journey to review or to refix the importance of what does the Quran mean for us. Why? Why should I be concerned with the Quran aslan? Why to keep a relation with the Quran? Okay, to talk about these points. Now, you as a Muslim, you need to know the beautiful following facts. Your book is not just a book for recitation. It is the constitution, the story of humanity up to the end of life. You need to appreciate the value of what you have. If you don't appreciate it, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. Let's imagine that this is iPhone 14 Pro X Plus X whatever, the latest. Now, for the youth, this is a very valuable cell phone. Imagine one of the youth has no idea at all about this mobile. So for him, it's a piece of plastic. Are you with me? If you come to one of the youth, his perspective towards iPhone 14 Pro Plus is just this piece of, that's it, which is $2. If you told him, look, I want to tell you how to enjoy, Sheikh Ahmed. Say, this is nothing. I don't care. I throw it. Don't waste your time. It has no value, which is true. It has no value for him. It's nothing. Now, when he realizes that the iPhone 14 could have, let's say, such and such features, the camera, the internet, something, communication, free application, whatever it is, what they have, what they love it inside it, then he'll count to 10 before uttering one single word. He say, okay, it's iPhone 14. I can't afford it easily. So you want to give it to me? I will count to 10. I want to know how to have it because he realized what? The value. This is very important. Now, one of our problems, we Muslims, as Muslims generally, sometimes we are not aware of the value. When we are aware of the value, we say, wow, wow. So the Quran is not just a book that we enjoy reciting it as a sound phenomenon. It's nice, mashallah. No, 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 no. It's a constitution of humanity. It's the cream, the end result of the will of Allah through 124,000 prophets and 315 messengers. Can you imagine? The cream, khulasa, zubda. You see, Allah sent to Adam, Idris, Noah, Abraham, Jacob, Yitzhak, Ishmael. Just name them. Ayyub alayhi salam, David, Solomon, Joseph. They sent them. This is what we know, 25. The thousands we don't know. Sent to all of them. Sent to all of them. Spoke with all of them. The cream of the cream, the cream, the cream, the cream, the cream of the religion is the Quran. You need to know that. What you have is not just a book. No, 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 no. It's a constitution, number one. And it contains the will of Allah. It contains some of the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you need to know this about the Quran. What is the Quran? طيب, what does this mean? Look, what does this mean? As long as if you really accepted this and you believe this, the Quran contains, number one, knowledge. Knowledge is power. You tell me how Japan or Germany or even Americans, our neighbors, our dear neighbors, okay, how they became advanced. They controlled others. Germans, when they did what they did, before they were defeated, how did they do it? With what? Knowledge. Ilm. Knowledge. Regardless how they misused it, okay? The Japanese, how they misused this. I'm not discussing how they used or misused. I'm saying how they became advanced and more powerful. Knowledge. Right. I give you another surprise. What is the most important element in any intelligence force on earth? جهاز أجهزة المخابرات في العالم. What is the most important element that makes, for example, CIA or the KGB or the MI5 or of the FBI or the MI6 or the whatever? What makes someone is much more powerful than others as number one? Do you know what is it? Information. Knowledge. If you have information about something, you have seized the power. Tools, something else now. Next. If you don't have knowledge, information. That's why they all the time they have spies. Maybe some of them are sitting with us now. I'm بحييهم. May Allah give them guidance, inshallah. Inshallah, okay? Okay, may Allah guide them, inshallah, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And by the way, anyone writes wrong information about his brother for the sake of having worldly benefit, wallahi, uqsimu ala Allah, that the Jahannam is waiting for him. Inshallah. Inshallah. Say inshallah. Because the one who trades this dunya with the akhirah in this way does not deserve more than may Allah reward him with Jahannam, inshallah. Anyway, this is something marginal, okay? But yes, intelligent forces basically is with information, knowledge type. We have true knowledge, genuine knowledge, false knowledge, misusing for the knowledge. When you come to Quran, you have just what? True knowledge. We have a lot of false knowledge. Contains a lot of lies. Now around the world, you go to a lot of false knowledge. They tell you, look, we will do this such and such, we will train you, will do it, use false knowledge. Training courses, a lot of training courses based on false knowledge. علوم الطاقة, for example. You know, this kid about the energy, the power. You know, the universal power and something. A lot of false knowledge based on false. No base, no reality. Quran, true knowledge. The source of knowledge is the generator of the knowledge. منشئ العلم himself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The creator of everything, subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm just now trying to take you with me in a journey to appreciate what does the Quran mean. What is it, the Quran? It's a constitution. It's the most powerful source of genuine knowledge on earth. You need to know that. So when you read it, you are not reading just something to pass a time and just to gain the ajr. No. It's much more than that. طيب, let's go as well. What does the Quran? Now, one of the biggest troubles that people or problems people they face when they deal with any type of knowledge is the trustworthy of the source. Is it trustworthy or not? What is the source of this knowledge? Okay? We keep investigating, making sure, doing, this and us. What is the source of the knowledge here? Allah. How did it come to us? Through the tawatur. And by the way, no group on earth, religious or non-religious, they know anything such as like the tawatur that Allah has honored Ummah Muhammad with. The tawatur, when we have a successive, millions of people, they transfer a knowledge from a generation to a generation with what we call ilm al-rijal, ilm al-jarh wa al-ta'dil, at-tawatur. These things, no one during the history has this type of tools to preserve the knowledge, to maintain the knowledge like us. Not because, mashallah, we are. No. It's because Allah decided to do so. Inna nahnu nazzalna dhikra wa inna. This is the majestic we, Nun al-Azama. It's we who revealed the Quran. And it's us who will preserve it. So Allah decided in His way. One of His ways to preserve this piece of knowledge is ilm al-rijal and al-tawatur. Which means you and me, just to know the value of what you have. You and me have no 1,000,000% of doubt whether this word in the Quran is from Allah or not. You don't have it. Do you have it? Do you have it? You don't have it. Others, they live all of their lives in their religions. They don't feel trust in their books. I will do a quick test with you just to let you appreciate what does it mean that we have no problem in terms of trusting the source. We have no problem. This is just an experiment, okay? God forbid, but it's just a theoretical experiment. Imagine for a while that all big scholars of Ahl-Sunnah, which is Islam, they gathered from all over the world and they came up, all big scholars. They came up with a declaration saying, sorry, we have to admit all the time we were making a mistake, but we discovered just recently that, for example, ayat al-riba, they don't belong to the Quran. Imagine just for a while, try to imagine this. Who on earth will stop dealing with riba? You have a doubt now. They told you ayat al-riba, they don't belong to what? The Quran. And the people say, how come? Who said so? Now the doubt started. Regardless, they did it because they were afraid. Someone pushed them, an external enemy gathered them and they threatened them. If you do not say it, we'll do it. You believe they did it. You started to rethink. Regardless, the doubt, the party of doubt started. How many millions will waste his time to think about the possibility of prohibition of the riba? Why should I care? Are you with me? Right. I will give you a much more stronger example about how important to trust that you have no doubt about the source. Right. Do we have any doubt that alcohol is haram? Right. How many millions they drink alcohol? Millions. Right. Do we have doubts that zina, fornication, adultery is haram? How many millions they commit zina? Millions. Look, we are sure it's haram, yet we do it. If we have doubt, most of us we will do it. The question will be, why not? I'm just trying to bring you to your attention. What does it mean that you have full trust in the source? To know what does the Quran mean for you? We don't have it. Go and ask if you want, really, if you want me to know what does it mean to have the Quran, go ask a priest in Christianity who used to be a priest for 30 years, then he became A Muslim, ask him about his feelings and one of the main reasons why he decided to become a Muslim. Go and ask him. Don't ask me, go ask him. Go read. Just Google it. Christians who reverted to Islam. You will find hundreds and thousands of stories. Read their stories and made a focus on their relation with their book compared with what happened to them when they came to the Last Testament. Old Testament and New Testament, Last Testament, ours. Ask them because they did it practically. They were there. We are just imagining now, God forbid. Okay? The last example. Do we have doubts in Islam that اللباس الشرعي الحجاب is a fard? No doubt. طيب. How many millions of sisters they don't wear the hijab? But what if we have doubts in ayat al-hijab? Imagine that we have doubts in ayat al-hijab. We are not sure that ayat al-hijab, God forbid, in theory, they were inserted in the Quran at the time of Umayyad, Abbasid, Ottomans, or whatever. We have this doubt. God forbid. Who will wear the hijab from the sisters? Put yourself in their places. If you are a female and you know that there is a doubt of the possibility that the hijab might not aslan be fard, are you going to wear the hijab? No. If it is ijma' that it is fard and you have millions who don't wear it. Okay, what was the point? The trusts in the source. So when you depend on the Quran, you are depending on a very strong reference and source. When you say such and such, you are backed completely. You need to know that. We are in the age of power, knowledge, science. You put all of these things together, you will give the real value, you will appreciate the real value of the Quran. Right. Part of the Quran contains part of ilm al-ghayb, which is a subtitle of these things. Ilm al-ghayb. Most of us, we would love to know what happened. We would love to know what will happen. Source, go enjoy it. Why many people, they go to deal with magic and magicians? You know, these kind of mysterious things. They have no explanations. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to do it. They go to this kufr things, which is magic, okay, because the need, the urge to know, to discover, to know, to control, to something. In the Quran, you have the knowledge of al-ghamay. How can we know what happened exactly between Allah and the angels and Iblis? Thousands, tens of thousands. We have no idea years ago. Exactly. You just think about it. وَقَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. What is your origin? Where did you come from? You know why it's easy for, generally speaking, liberal, secular places to convince millions with Darwinism? Why it's easy? No alternative of trustworthy source as a replacement. What else? You give me what else they have. If the power or the people in charge, they decided to say that Darwinism is our faith. Okay. Do you have something else to compare it with it? No. So they will believe in Darwinism. That, you know, the evolution theory, and our grandfather or sister, they might be apes or chimpanzees or something. For us, this is Adam alayhi salam. That's it. خلق آدم أحسن تقويم. Everything. So I'm giving you just examples about why we should be appreciating and understanding the value of the Quran. طيب. Now, let's come to beautiful example that I love it. Since I know it, maybe I mentioned it 20 times in my life, since 2-3 years, about appreciating the power and the value of this Quran. Then I will move to you personally, what you will benefit from the Quran. Then I will speak about how. Okay? Now, still about the value. How many of you heard with the name of Richard Varley? Richard Varley. Does this name click or does it ring a bell in your mind? Any one of you? Richard Varley? Type. Fix Richard Varley in your mind now. Richard Varley was a colonel in the British police in the special unit of anti-terrorist forces. in 1989, 34 years ago. In 1989, anyone in my age or above my age, which is late 40s, 50s, 60s, you know the big affair of Salman Rushdie. Salman Rushdie, he's from Muslim Indian origins. However, he committed a very, very evil act against Islam and Muslims, and he wrote a book called it Satanic Verses, and he attacked Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, attacked the wives of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in a very, very wicked way, contains a lot of hatred. Anyway, so he wrote a novel against Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his wives. So Muslims in the UK at that time, 34 years ago, you know, they went to do gathering demonstration in the street, rejecting, because unfortunately, big politicians at that time, they supported him. On top of them, Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth supported in public Salman Rushdie in his public. Look, anyway, it happened. So Muslims, they felt very, very angry at that time. So they went, to the street demonstration. This is against, this is Islamophobia, this is such and such, how you allowed to spread this novel. They were just expressing their anger. Richard Varley, at that time, he was a colonel of the special anti-terrorist unit in the British police. He was asked to be in charge of making sure that no troubles will happen on the street of London. So when he was asked to do this, he had no previous idea about Muslims or Islam or anything. He has no idea. So he asked, how can I understand what kind of people are this? So he was guided to read the Quran, just to have an idea. What do those people think about? So he had a copy from the Quran 34 years ago. Now, to know, if you want to watch him, he has a video clip. It was recorded by Al-Hiwar London TV about 6 years ago with the title of 3 Verses Changed My Life. Go and see it on YouTube. Just listen to it and spread it. 3 verses changed my life. I'm quoting him directly. He said, I started reading with this book before taking my job. He said, I am, Richard Varley, talk about himself. He said, my major is geology and I have a double major of geology and physics before he started being a police officer. So he started reading the Quran. He has no idea what Islam, Muslims, Arabic language or Muhammad, nothing at all. Started reading. He came across the following verse. أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. Have the non-believers not seen, witnessed that heavens and earth, they were one mass and we split them into pieces? He stopped. He said, wait, this ayah is talking exactly about what we call now in science the Big Bang Theory. Boom. What is the Big Bang Theory? Everything in the universe was just one split and they exploded. And he said, how come? How did this book was talking about what we know as heavens and earth, everything in the universe, one split? وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا. Put notes. He kept on reading. He came across قول الله تعالى وَالسَّمَاءَ بَنَيْنَاهَا بِأَيْدٍ وَإِنَّا مُوسِعُونَ. Verily indeed we have built heavens by our might and we are still expanding it. Expanding. Present continuous. His mind was blown. He said, just 100 years ago, Richard Hubble, with his telescope, was the first people in humanity discovered that the universe is expanding. They discovered this through, the lights of the stars. You can see, for example, the light comes from this, and then you see it in another place because they are moving with the speed of light. He said, just 100 years ago, we discovered this. How did this book is talking about وَإِنَّا, and Allah did not say وَقَدْ أَوْسَعْنَاهَا. وَإِنَّ لَمُوسِعُونَ. This is what? Still expanding. He said, no way, there's something, something amazing about this book. Then he came to the third ayah. The title of his video, 3 verses, changed my life. The title, the last ayah he came across, his major is geology. He came across قول الله تعالى وَالْجِبَالَ أَوْتَادًا. Allah was talking about the creation and the nature of the creation and how Jibal Autada means we have also made mountains as wedges and pegs. You know, the peg or the wedge, you use it for tents. Big tents, you tie the rope and they use the wedges, you put 90% of it inside the ground and you keep 10% to fix the tent. Allah is describing the mountains as what? Pigs or wedges. But what's the relation? He said, my major is geology. He said, just early 60s. He was reading this in 1998-90. He's saying, in early 60s, which means less than 30 years, we have discovered by a cross-section of, the layers of earth, that mountains, most of them, they go down in earth. For example, 20%, 80%, 10%, 90%, like the iceberg. You know the iceberg? When you go to oceans, icebergs, what we see is just 10 or 15%. Most of the mountains were underneath the water. Exactly the real mountains is like this. The lava layer, which is completely melt of rocks. Most of the mountain inside. His mind was about to be blown. Then he said the following statement. He said, this book is impossible to be from a human source. This is my point now. He said, I can make sure that this book is from a divine source. It's impossible. I decided to become a Muslim without knowing a word about Arabic or meeting a Muslim or knowing anything about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He decided to become a Muslim. You go and listen to him. He's still alive. To the best of my knowledge, the recording, I think 2015 or 16. He was 70 plus or 80 approaching. I don't know, more or less. The point, when he was reading the book itself, 3 verses out of 1,000 verses made him sure that the source, this is my point, the source of this book is divine, ilahi. It's impossible, no human beings. That's what gives you, to what about the rest 1,000 verse? Wallahi, if I have time now to give you verses about scientific miracles, where did Muhammad ﷺ know when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يَجْعَلْ صَدْرَهُ ضَيِّقًا حَرَجًا أَنَّمَا يَصْعَدُ فِي السَّمَاءِ. Look, 1400 years ago, the Quran is describing those who declare war against Allah, those who hate Allah, those who made kufr against Allah. Allah will let their chests be narrow, hard breathing, like the someone who is ascending in the layers of the atmosphere gradually. Now we know that the oxygen is what is becoming less and less when you go up. Now we know, just decades ago. You can live, for example, let's say 10,000 feet, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 less oxygen, 50,000 much less oxygen. You can still be there, but with what is this? صدره ضيق كأنما يسعى, because you can breathe but with less oxygen than your need. Why when they go to Mount Everest, why they go for 2-3 days? They do camping at a certain layer for 2-3 days and then they continue. Do you know why? To let their lungs be accustomed with the less of oxygen in that layer. Otherwise they can't breathe, because it's about 6,000-7,000 meters. They can't. Where did Muhammad bring this knowledge from? Who knew about oxygen aslan? What oxygen is, and this hawa or this atmosphere contains oxygen and nitrogen or thani oxide of carbon, who knows this? We now know it. At that time, no one on earth was aware of that. Subhanallah. Just 4 verses, and you can keep going under it. So when you look to the Quran, that the Quran contains the knowledge, the science, the information, the power, the trustworthy. So you are not dealing with a book. No, it's the most important source of knowledge and power and happiness and solutions. Solutions. Family problems, financial problems, international problems, any need, it's there. The khayr, it's in this book. So we start from this point. But I jump to next point. Do it, inshallah, not to take a lot of your time. The next point, the benefits. What kind of benefits I personally will benefit? This is a very big philosophical things. Personally, what benefits? Our religion told us, when you read, you are gaining ajr. Simply. When you get, apart from the happiness that you have the power, apart from the fact that you are gaining the knowledge to solve your problems and you have the solutions, simply you are gaining what? The ajr. من قرأ حرفا من كتاب الله فله بكل حرف 10 حسنات. لا أقول ألف لام ميم حرف بل ألف حرف ولام حرف وميم حرف. Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم said, when you read one letter, like just alif, you have 10 hasanat. So when you read the Quran, you are getting ajr. It's one of the ways how to have what? Ajr. And one of the beautiful stories about what I benefit personally from the Quran, and I love it. And really, I myself was affected by this simple, humble story. It's a metaphorical story, not a real one, but it gives a very beautiful message. It is said that a grandfather wanted to encourage his grandson to memorize the Quran. The grandson was a little bit, what benefit I will get from just memorizing the Quran? Okay, the Quran is inside me, so what benefit? I'm not able to memorize it all the time. I'm busy. I want to play. As we say, بدخل منهم بطلع منهم, we say in Arabic. For example, I memorize, then I forget. I memorize, I forget. I'm not able to control it, so I don't want to waste my time. So he wanted to give him like a very powerful lesson. They were living in a village. He asked him to take the baskets that they hold the coal inside it. You see? Is it cool or coal, they say it? Coal. الفحم. The basket of the coal. He said, took this basket, which is full of, holes. Go to the river, bring water from the river with the coal basket. He said, it's full of holes. It does not hold water. Why should I say, go and bring the water? Okay, my grandfather, maybe he's something with him, but let's try it. Okay, he went to by the time he came back home, the water was leaking from the holes, because it's not prepared for water, it's for coal. It has a lot of holes. So by the time he reached the house, water is gone. Faddal, grandfather, no water. He said, okay, go and fill it with water again. Grandfather, no benefit. Go and fill it and come. He went, fill it again, come again. Look, it's empty, nothing. I lost all the water, while I'm walking. Go and fill it again. He did it 3 times. Before then, 3rd time, he said, look. Now, the grandson was so angry. I'm just wasting my time. What benefit I'm getting by just filling the water, coming to you empty. Filling the water, coming to you empty. He said, okay. Now the grandfather came with the lesson. Said, okay, any changes? He said, no. He said, look inside the basket. It was what? Very clean. All the dirty, remainings of the coal, they were what? Cleansed. He said, this is exactly what the Quran will do for you when you keep reading. It cleanses your heart, it cleanses yourself, even if you don't memorize it, but just keep it running. It's like the water which keep cleansing. Okay, if you want to change the basket, most of us, we are like coal baskets. Some of us decide to change their basket to be water container, but you have to pay a price. We are by default, this is my words, by default, we are baskets with holes. So always the water is leaking, by default. If you want to upgrade it, you have to pay. This is the free by default. The upgraded version, you have to pay subscription. Go and dedicate yourself, do the hifz for the Quran, be a hafiz. You have to dedicate 5 hours a day. This hour a day you will be a hafiz. Hafiz, someone who's maintaining and taking care of the Quran, memorize the Quran. It's a big price, big price. But what if I'm just reading and I'm not a hafiz? Cleansing. Because it comes, the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Keep it in your mind. What benefits? This is the minimal of the benefit you are benefiting. The word of Allah is next to your ear, is next to your heart. It goes through on daily basis. And this is the importance of the word that keep doing. This is the importance of the tasbih. This is important. The same idea. Type. Now, depending on that, and when I know, and I forgot to tell that Al-Quran, we have many hadith about Al-Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah and Al-Imran, Al-Zahrawan, تأتيان كالغمامتين, which will be covering, to be shafi'. Now, some Quranic chapters, Al-Quran itself, by the will of Allah, in a way we don't understand how, will be like do the intercession, shafa'a for you. Ya Allah, the Quran itself will have the power to defend you in the day of judgment, defending you when you are in the time of the accountability. Type. This is the what and the why. Let's come to the how, which is the answer of our question. If you are convinced in the value and you believe that you are all the time benefiting from this great Quran, and you appreciate that this is a source of power and knowledge and solutions and help everyone and change your life and your family and your mind and the world is waiting for you to help with these things. Now we can give many prescriptions what to do. My advice from my humble simple experience of listening to the experts, I myself am not expert, but from listening to the experts, I urge you to do the following. Always have in your life 3 khitmah. Reading khitmah, tadabbur khitmah, memorizing khitmah. In parallel in your life, which means whatever happens to you, always let be part of your life. You decide it how, depending. You are a taxi driver, you are an Uber, you are a teacher, you are a doctor, you are whatever. Depending on your circumstances, take a decision to read a word on daily basis. Don't allow 24 hours without holding a copy from the Quran, electronic or something, and read some of it. How much? It depends on you. Where you have been, do something better. You were not reading the Quran aslan, start reading at least 10 pages a day. You were reading a juzu, start to make it 2 juzu. You were reading just Surah Al-Kahf on Friday, start to read 5, for example, the whole week, 5, for example, ajza. Take a decision, but don't let 24 hours be passed without reading something from the Quran. My personal advice, which I'm applying against myself, and I make dua for me to succeed in it, because I'm struggling, because I'm an academic and I'm a media person as well, so I'm connected with the social media. I took a decision to test myself what will happen if I deducted 90% of WhatsApp time, just not social media, just the WhatsApp. I did the experiment with myself. 90% of WhatsApp, you know WhatsApp? We are addicted to WhatsApp. You know, when you wake from sleep, very thing you open the WhatsApp. When you leave the bathroom, washroom, you see the WhatsApp. When you start eating, you open the WhatsApp or the Instagram or whatever. So I tested myself. I decided to deduct 90% of the time of the WhatsApp. And to replace it, I said, if I have time to keep checking what the WhatsApp is sending me, it means I have a time to read the Quran. So I did the experiment. Guess what I came up with? Easily, without a special program, I'm able to read between 2 to 3 juz a day. I replaced just the WhatsApp. Not the social media, just the WhatsApp. If the social media, I believe maybe I will read 10 juz. Wallah, I'm not exaggerating. Look at yourself. How many times you check something has to do with WhatsApp, has to do with social media or mobile. Most of us, especially the youth, an average 3 hours a day. An average, sometimes 5 hours. How many reels, how many shorts, how many TikTok videos, how many YouTube videos you see a day? an average 100 sometimes, an average, sometimes 200, because all of them 2-3 minutes, 2-3 minutes, 2-3 minutes, 2-3 minutes, 2-3 minutes, 2-3, okay, the end result, 4 hours and a half. طب in 1 hour you can read 2 جزء, 4 hours and a half, 8 أجزاء. So I'm giving you real practical solution. Take a decision. Do I waste time with social media? Yes, no, or something similar, whatever, it depends on you. But most of us, we have a problem with social media, most of us. Take a decision, you solve number 1. Always I have something. Now in parallel, we have another program. What is خدمة تدبر? Take a decision, take a decision, even if once a week. And I urge you to do it at least 10 minutes a day. How to do it? Yeah, all of us, we have cell phones, mobile phones, and applications. Now, this is the Quran. First khitma, read. Type. Second khitma, apart from this, I have 10 minutes. 10 minutes, I read verse by verse. Each verse, I don't understand it. I just, with the application, like this, okay, now, the tafsir. One of the tafsir. Tafsir ibn Kathir, tafsir al-Jalalain, al-Muyassar, al-Sabuni. Now in English, the best tafsir in my understanding is the Clear Quran for Dr. Mustafa Khattab. One of the best. I speak as an expert now. My master's degree is in tafsir. And I'm dealing with English tafsir since more than 25 years. I've never ever came across a beautiful translation for the meaning of the Quran like the Clear Quran of Mustafa Khattab. Please read it, and you have it here. For example, and I read word by what does this mean? What's the meaning? Who did it say it? What's the meaning in Arabic? What's the meaning in English? I go and read, put notes, open another application. If you do this, just notes on Telegram, note on WhatsApp for yourself. For now, tadabbur, thorough, deep understanding. Third khitmah, start to take a decision of memorizing the Quran, even if it took you 10 years. 1 verse a day, or half a page today, or 1 page a day, it depends on your ability, but take a decision. Now, when you leave Ramadan, we talked about Ramadan. You know, everything upside down, it breaks all of our customs, our habits. Now, one of the things, take a decision. Khitmat what we say? Reading. Khitmat tadabbur. Khitmat memorizing. So if you took at least one of them, some of you will say, I can't read, I have no time. At least, please, please, please. No room to say I can't with the first one, reading. More tadabbur, more hifz. But the least, just to keep what? Cleansing our hearts with the closeness. Wallahi, the benefit that you will feel it. Just the fact that you are holding. You are doing it now in Ramadan. You are holding, even if you don't understand sometimes. The barakah of just being close from the book of Allah, it will help you even to control yourself when you have some kind of bad thinking to doing something bad. You feel shy between yourself. The fact you are reading the Quran, it will give you the power. By this, inshallah, I think, inshallah, Allah has enabled me to give you like insights. What is the title of our talk? How to keep your relationship with the Quran after Ramadan throughout the year. Jazakum Allah khair. Thank you very much for being excellent listeners. Barakallah fikum. And this is my last lecture, inshallah. See you in Khatira. And tomorrow I'm leaving. Barakallah fikum jami'an. Make dua for us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.